Today we're taking on Galaxy 29, and on his team he's got two Ubers. He's got Charizard, Norburn, Volcanion, and Garchomp. But honestly, his team has arose another complaint I got about the Brick Bronze competitive scene whenever you add legendaries, because like every single person will just start using legendaries on their team, whether it be Groudon, Kyogre, Mewtwo, any of that. If you add those into the game, everybody's gonna start using it, which is why it's annoying. Because for someone like me, it's boring. But luckily, power isn't an issue because at least I have a good enough team to fend for myself. But someone that doesn't have a good team, they're gonna suffer because Groudon, Kyogre, all those Pokemon are banned in competitive play for a reason. It's because they're overpowered in terms of base stats and just damage output. So it really just ruins the fun, in my opinion, of PvP in a sense. But anyways, it is what it is. So I led with Venomoth because I was trying to see if we could get in a sweep. And anyways, getting Venomoth back in the game is pretty difficult. So if I could get it in, I may as well take my opportunity. Although next time I might just go with Pidgeot because it's probably more better in terms of this power output and whatnot. But anyways, unfortunately, he starts off with his Charizard, which is the worst thing that he could have sent out for my Venomoth. So I had to switch out and go into Starmie. And unfortunately for me, my team gets destroyed by any really powerful wall breaker like Charizard Y with its fire type moves will basically shred through my whole team. Starmie is really the best thing I have as a counter, but really it's not even a great counter because not only does it not do any damage back to Charizard Y, but it gets one shot by Solar Beam. So that's that. But anyways, I was trying to see who I wanted to sack here because he went for a Bulldoze, which originally I thought was questionable, especially for Charizard Y. But I thought it was part of his grand strategy. Maybe he predicted this and wanted to go for the Solar Beam and get that outspeed. So anyways, I go for the Psyshock here because Scald under the effects of Sun doesn't do that much damage to Charizard, and Psyshock just hits it on its more weaker defensive side. So anyways, he goes for the Arrow Lace, which still does pretty good damage. Then I decided to go for the Recover because I wanted to get Starmie back at full HP. And then he goes for an Overheat. He blasts me, and that does just crazy damage. And that's a resisted attack, so I don't even want to know what a non-resisted attack would look like. It would probably get one-shotted by a non-resisted attack. So anyways, I go for the Recover there, which was good timing, honestly. So now he's used up all his special attack. He can only really rely on his physical moves now. And I go again for another Psyshock against this Charizard. And then he hits me with a Flare Blitz. I gotta say, this is a pretty weird set for a Charizard. He's running a lot of physical moves on the special variation, but perhaps that is for a reason. So anyways, we almost take it out, but looks like our Starmie will be the Pokemon that will have to be sacrificed here if I want him to go down to recall damage. But I figured it's probably better to keep Starmie in because having that outspeed capability is pretty important, especially in a battle like this. So I decided to go right into Rapidash to take the Flare Blitz, but he goes for Overheat instead, which I guess is a good mix-up, although luckily we take it pretty well. Although this is exactly why I wish I had Flash Fire Rapidash rather than whatever I have right now. I have Runaway, which is an absolutely useless ability, but with Flash Fire at least I'd be able to get some usefulness out of that, because then I could switch in on fire type moves like that of Charizard Y. So anyways, we take him out with the Flare Blitz because we do luckily get that outspeed. I guess his Charizard might not have max speed EVs like my Rapidash does. And I was tempted to give this guy a quick Wild Charge or perhaps even a Bulldoze, although I figured it'd probably be better to switch out and keep Rapidash in the game, because in case you had Kyogre or Groudon, we would want Rapidash, or not necessarily Groudon, but for Kyogre it helped a lot. And I don't know if he had Primals, because Primal Groudon, Primal Kyogre would be pretty scary, especially for a team like this. This is not even my good team. This is just like my casual like fun team that I've been using just for the sake of having fun. So anyways, I go into Starmie here in case he goes for a fire or water type attack, or he goes for a mix-up, which is his Sludge Bomb. I have to give it to him. That was a pretty good mix-up there, a good read. He's able to dispatch the Starmie, although I don't think Starmie would really have been able to take a Hydro Pump either. So that's that. So anyways, I figured Pidgeot would probably be the best play here, because although we don't really tank anything Volcanion has, you can still hit him back like a truck, and we should be able to not get one-shotted. So I figured that Pidgeot would be a good Pokemon, and perhaps we could even get our Hurricane confusion chance, which would definitely help us out a lot in a battle like this. So I get that Mega Evolution off and hit him with a Hurricane, and it does a good amount of damage, which is, you know, pretty satisfying, especially because Volcanion is a fairly bulky Pokemon at that, so, you know, that's pretty good damage. So hits himself with Confusion. I decided to blast him again with another Hurricane, because even if he switched out, then, you know, he's gonna suffer greatly. So that is enough to take out the Volcanion, which is great. So next up, he decides to send out his Garchomp, and that was still pretty good for me, because Garchomp doesn't really have any special defense, although Pidgeot is basically it's incredibly frail, so we can only really take one hit before it itself gets knocked out. So I figured, you know, we may as well blast him again with another Hurricane. Let's do as much damage as we can, and I'm pretty satisfied with that damage. Not only do we get the Confusion, but he's on red, which is excellent, honestly. And unfortunately, he does get to attack. Confusion does not kick in, but it does it does a lot of damage. Actually, it does more than I expected. I expected Pidgeot to actually take that better. That's a neutral Dragon Claw, no boost, none of that. And here he goes for the withdraw into Norburn, and I hit him with the U-turn, which also I probably could have gotten away with another Hurricane there, but you know, this is fine. Now I decided it's time to get in the big gun itself, and I sent out Lapras. And Lapras, when you just get it in there, it's a fun Pokemon to use, because like, depending, you can just like you can attack corresponding to what the opponent switches into. And I learned that Ice and Water is actually an excellent type combination, because with Freeze Dry you can basically patch up any Pokemon that resists both stabs, unless you're facing like a Water Ice type, like, you know, I forgot what it's called, the Elephant Seal Ting and Lapras. Those are like the only Water Ice types I can think of course, other than the new one in Gen 9. I forgot what that's called too. It's like the Delibird equivalent. But anyways, he goes into Groudon here, and I figured we may as well stay in, because we're still hitting him for super effective damage as long as it's not a primal. And he actually outspeeds and goes for the Solar Beam. You don't really see a special set that often with Groudon, but I guess it's pretty effective, because Groudon still does have decent special attack. Anyways, we hit him with the Freeze Dry and we do crazy good damage, so I figured we may as well just, you know, stay in and hit him again to see if we can take him out. But when we do this, we luckily actually outspeed him, and I guess it's because we have that we have a speed tie between the Groudon and the Lapras, and I do have speed on this Lapras specifically for that reason, so we can outspeed more slower Pokemon and knock them out with our really powerful attacks. So he goes into Kyogre, and I hit him again with another Freeze Dry, because it hits him for super effective damage, and it does crazy good damage, especially when you consider that Kyogre has really good special defensive bulk. And he probably could have knocked us out, but I think he messed up there, thinking that he could hit us with a water type attack, because we got Water Absorb on this, so we were able to take out the Kyogre. Lapras is really just destroying everything at this point. That's actually just crazy impressive. Then he sends out his Garchomp, which is unfortunately his last Pokemon, and I try to go for the Freeze Dry, but then he goes for Dig, and I'm pretty positive that would be enough to take us out, seeing how much damage a standard Dragon Claw did to my Pidgeot. So I figured, you know, we may as well switch out and give Lapras the benefit of having lived till the end. So I go into Pidgeot here on the Dig, and of course he can't hit us, and I finish him off with the Hurricane, which marks the game. Definitely an interesting battle, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that is in fact GG.